Hey, good morning, gamers. Cryptic Gaming here. You're watching Banished Souls. So we're playing Skull and Bones, and we are coming to the close of Season 1. I believe we've got about 31 days left, thereabouts, on this season. We will check real quick. I want to bring you to the leaderboard so we can look at a few things. And I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks coming out of this season, some things that I've noticed. You know, if you remember when you come in, it would show you the leaderboard, the different tiers that are there, so you can collect those sovereigns. Well, you're going to be able to collect sovereigns over here as well, and continuing after you hit Diamond Ray. So what you want to do is when you look at your weekly stats, so we're at tier 1 right now, need to get up to tier 2. As you can see, there's going to be some rewards coming in here. We got to get that current tier for the week, back up to a 5, but this is going to earn you those sovereigns once you hit tier 5. So one collection is pretty much going to get us up in there, and we're going to get some more sovereigns. Now, if you're collecting every single day, it's going to be hard to get that extra bonus of sovereigns. So give it 2 or 3 days between it, and you can bounce between tiers 4 and 5, and that's going to continue to give you 200 sovereigns each time. If you get to tier 2, as you can see here on the left, we're at 300 collected. We'll get 20 at the end, and that's going to continue to go up. But once you max that out, you need to stop collecting your 8s if you've already reached that million, and allow yourself to drop down in the tier so you can rise back up into the tiers. Something you should do, something you should have been doing. Figured I'd share that with everybody. It's a great way to keep your sovereigns coming in. So we've done pretty decent for the seasonal and all. It will take just a couple collections to throw us into a higher tier there. Now, some of the other stuff that I would recommend that you do as the season is getting closed out is make sure that you are keeping your production of your Gold Skull products and your White Skull products, and of course your Black Snuff and the it's the Silver Snuff and the Black Opium stuff. You want to make sure that you're keeping those production numbers up and producing as much as possible. So if you're doing that via running forts, that's a great way. Now, you can run a lot of those forts by yourself, Dooster and things like that. They're going to take a little bit longer to run by yourself, but running a bark and throwing some mons on it, and then you want to put some demi cannons on one side, you can run those. But what I find to be the most convenient, we're going to go back here to the supply network, folks, and obviously picking up these roving missions. You're going to get 144. You can run these every hour. It's going to be a quick source of materials for you, so we do that. Another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is you can do the fort plunders. Make sure you're picking up those contracts when you do those fort plunders. You're going to be able to do rogue hunts as well. That's also going to give you a chance at like the Worm's Breath and the Orca Mechanism, again at Saltpeter and things like that. So be getting that stocked up for the end of the season. Now, it may be one of those things where, you're going, okay, well, I think I've got enough, but maybe you need to get some more. That's going to be up to you on how you do that. If you've got plenty of 8s, I would recommend buying them just to be safe. Understand that when you go into Twitter X, you're going to see where there are a lot of people that are advocating for them to do a complete reset on not just leaderboard, but your banks as well. I don't think that they're going to go that route. I know in the past that they've said that will not happen because what you've collected has been put into a category already of its own. Now, the quick way to get your cannonballs and things like that set up is running order registries. Now, you want to make sure that those are going to be roving. So Southern Basin seems to be the big area where you would deliver for a roving, and that's going to call in those Helm ships. So what I recommend before you pick up the roving is you're going to come over here, you're going to pick up these Helm registries, and we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. I need to do some cannonball farming. I want to make sure I got plenty of cannonballs. Now, you can go and you can run around the shipwrecks, as we've mentioned in the past. But what I prefer to do with that is just run these roving missions here. And when you come in, you're going to destroy the liaison. So apparently there's a duplicate poppy up there. Sometimes you can back out, come back in, and it may load a new one up. Sometimes it's not going to. So no more roving there, so not a big deal. We're going to come up. We're going to do a little fast travel here. But that sovereign trick, that's going to keep you grinding sovereigns. Once you reach that top tier 5 on there, not a big deal. That's great that you've hit that. Stop collecting for a day or two. It's only going to take you like a day to hit that. You're going to get all your sovereigns especially if you own all the aisles and you're pulling in, 200,000-300,000 per collection, you're going to hit that tier real quick. Give it a day or two. I would say give it 3 or 4 even. Collect twice a week, and it's going to give you that. You're going to be able to catch that sovereign boost twice instead of just once if you're farming it every single day. So it's going to help you out. So let's go up here. Let's hit this. This is going to give us a Helm wanted level. Now you may be thinking, man, I really don't want to be sailing around with a Helm wanted level. Me personally, when I'm going to collect my 8s, which we need to do over there in Africa right now, we need to collect all those 8s. The warehouses are full, so I have divided mine up into 3 sections. I used to collect it all at one time, but I have found that it's not quite as a grind by doing the Red Isles one day, the Indies the next, then over in Africa the next day. So that's just my preference. You can do that however you want, but I do need to come up here and get that Helm wanted level first, because this is going to make a situation where instead of putting in those pestilence fleets all the time, it's going to switch some of that stuff out to Helm ships, which is going to give me more products to run into warehouses. It's going to also give me cannonballs and things like that as well. So those are going to be a few tricks that you can run. If you haven't heard of those tricks yet, I do highly recommend that you do them. So pretty quick off, it sounded like they must have been cheering out for that cargo there. So this should be a Helm liaison up ahead. Now this is how you're going to save silver, folks. Instead of coming and buying from this guy, just sink him. It's going to give you one level for 30 minutes. Not a big deal. In fact, what it's going to do is, to me, it makes it so when you collect your 8s, it's going to make it where you don't have to fight as many of the plague ships. It will take a little bit longer to destroy, which is basically wasting cannon fire in my opinion. Very quick, very easy. And the same thing, so we were able to collect our materials. Yeah, you're typically not going to fill up your ship, but you do get a few extra points there. So we should have got the 144 juniper berries. We ended up with 180, so I think we ended up, about 35 more than we would have if we'd have paid silver. So you do get a little bonus for destroying him, because you are catching that Helm rated, or that Helm wanted level on there as well. The same thing when you go to run gold products. Instead of selling your product off to them to get the 8s, just destroy the Helm ship. It's going to give you a wanted for about 30 minutes, which is going to help you out to do your farming. And you're going to be able to collect as many of those Helm ships, just destroying those along the way as possible, to get you some more of the gold skull products, as far as like your juniper berries, your tobacco leaves, so on and so forth. So okay, now what I'm going to do here is I want to take and drop off all the cargo stuff that I just picked up, because we're going to be collecting 8s over there in Africa, and I really don't want to get over encumbered. Not very, it doesn't happen often in this particular ship using the bark. Now, I've always been more of the sandbuck, as far as I love using the sandbuck, but until they bring in a new weapon to go on that ship to counteract the buffs that they're giving to plague fleets, I'm going to go with something like this, because on occasion they will multiply spawn a bunch of stuff on top of you, or you may run into situations where you get that weird spawn that comes in. You'll get that sharpshooter that can almost one-shot a sandbuck every time. I don't know if you've encountered that yet. It does happen. It doesn't matter what type of armor you're using on it. So we've got that delivered in. So our next step is we want to see exactly where we're at on the map. So we got a few areas here. We're just going to travel up manually, and we'll collect our 8s. And after I'm finished collecting 8s, this area here, if you remember, gets quite a few plague ships. I don't know why. It just seems to pull in more plagues. So that's going to now give us a Helm situation where we're going to be getting more Helm ships rather than the plague ships, so we can get through our collection a little bit faster. So after I run that, typically I'll come in and you'll have that rover down here when you come into St. Anne and pick up your roving missions for deliveries. You're going to fight your way down and just continue to farm the area. You shouldn't have to worry about La Peste or anything if you're not carrying the Blighted Bastion. I know he still does kind of do a random spawn, but kind of rare for him to pop into this area. So that's going to be a great area, which you're going to destroy the Helm liaison there, and that's going to give you those products you need. But hope these have been some helpful tips. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'm going to continue what I'm doing here, and we will see you each later. We should have another little update coming up here on Monday. I think right now they're just finishing off the touches with some of the bugs. I'm still looking for more expanded notes on Season 2. As soon as we can see that coming out for the game, we're going to be posting that up for you. Don't want to make a lot of guesses on it. We do know that there's a Helm management coming out. Hopefully they're going to give us a little bit more insight into what that's going to be. But my guess is they like to kind of make these things surprises for us. So we'll just have to wait and see how it is. Y'all have a wonderful day. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscription button and stay up on everything that is Skull and Bones.